Hi everyone, it's Danny Schur, Winnipeg composer, producer, writer, and welcome to my backyard. This is the great, the meh, and the ugly of my 1 year of EV ownership in Winnipeg. Okay, first some background. Ouch, mosquitoes. Winnipeg is smack dab in the center of North America, right in the Canadian prairies, or as our American cousins call it, the Great Plains. It is a mid-continental climate with an extreme of about 70 degrees Celsius, 35 in the summer, minus 35 in the winter. With that kind of humongous temperature differential, there's probably nowhere on Earth better to test the cold and warm weather capabilities of an electric vehicle. And another thing, the very ground that I'm standing on is 2 meters of sedimentary deposit from the Red River, which is less than a kilometer away from me. That presents its own problem for part of the EV experience. I'll explain. So let's start with the great, because the great is really great. It far outweighs the meh and the ugly. This is the year gas prices went from $1.07 per liter when we bought the car in June of 21 to a high of over $2 a liter. Subsequently, it's leveled off a bit and it's currently $1.07. By our estimates, we're saving $5,000 a year just on gas savings alone. So that's been phenomenal. We haven't been to a gas station in a year. It feels really good. The driving experience was awesome. I stick by my assertion that there's just nothing more fun than a Chevy Bolt. The ride is great. It's got the batteries underneath the floor, so it sticks to the road, especially on icy roads. Many people ask me over the course of the year, how does it do in the winter? That's definitely part of the great. You know how an internal combustion engine just kind of labors when it hasn't been plugged? Sounds like the pistons are going to pop out or just not even get going because of the cold. Well, you get in an electric in the winter, press the button, and it doesn't make any sound, just like the rest of the year. It just turns on silently and goes. It's quite miraculous that way. It did phenomenally in the cold. And Manitoba, as I pointed out in my other video, is the best place on the planet to have an electric because our grid is like 99% green from hydroelectric power. And now the meh part of the equation. In an effort to make the wheel wells really aerodynamic, the distance between the wheel well and the wheel is teeny. So in this past super snowy, icy winter, that space just got packed up with snow. It would regularly need a bashing out with my special steel rod that I created for the job when I come home. Not the biggest deal, certainly other cars, internal combustion or otherwise, that have that small space won't do so well with that ice and mush smushing in the wheel well. But honestly, that was like one of the only things that I could pick as a negative about the experience. And of course, there's range lessening in the cold, but it's not even as much as you'd think, and it's way less, my mechanic points out, than internal combustion engines, which can be as much as 60 to 75% less efficient in the winter. You just don't think about it because you just fill it up with gas. I estimate that the range loss is about 1% for every degree below zero. So it's minus 30 Celsius, it's going to lose about 30% of the range. It's minus 40, it's going to lose 40% of the range. Thankfully, even in cold, snowy Winnipeg, that only occurs for about a month. And then you see the range creeping up, up, and up until in the summer, you get the range bonus. So even that meh was just the way it's going to be in a cold climate. And now for the truly ugly part of the experience. In truth, it has nothing to do with the driving experience or the EV vehicle. It's charging. So let's just back up for a sec. Remember, there's level 1 charging, which is just plugging into a regular 110 circuit. It'll take you like 3 days. So that's just for extreme backup, the so-called trickle charge. Level 2 is a 40 or 50 amp circuit with a 220 volt line. That is the so-called destination chargers, and that's what you want to install in your home. Then level 3 chargers, the so-called DC fast charge, is what you'll find in Petro-Canada. That's what Tesla chargers are as well, and those are positioned about every 200 kilometers all across Canada for your long haul trips. Now, if you live in an apartment or a condo without at least a level 2 charger, I can certainly see why you'd want more public charging capabilities. And in Canada, we're just the front end of public charging becoming more and more the norm. But if you're lucky enough to own or rent a property on which you can install your own level 2 charger, that's the way to go. And that's what we decided to do. So we fancy ourselves do-it-yourselfers. We thought, how hard can it be to dig a trench, install a line, and install the charger by ourselves? And in truth, in any other city than Winnipeg, it would have probably been infinitely easier. The electrical line from the house goes along the sidewalk right here up to the garage. So we thought, let's stay away from that. We thought we'd keep it as far away as possible. And so we decided, let's go beside the fence over here, or at least on this side of the trees, until we encountered Red River Gumbo. When this stuff is wet, it's like hard ice cream. When it's dry, it's hard as rock. So the moral of the story, Winnipeg EV owners or potential EV owners, if you're going to trench your own line, stay away from the trees. It's bad enough doing in Red River Gumbo on a good day. It's only because we're DIY, deal-loving Winnipeggers that we subjected ourselves to the hell of doing our own trench for the charger. Otherwise, pay someone. We'd estimate it would be somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 for the whole job. Depending on your age and desire, it's super worth it. That's been the great, the meh, and the ugly of EV ownership in Winnipeg in the first year. Would we do it again? Absolutely, 100%. I'm Danny Schur. Thanks. Talk to you again.